So immediately the racist students that never should have been let into the campus, they're dumbbells from the top to the bottom, these progressives. Right away, they got their ire up, they got the chip on their shoulder, and started marching. Screaming he should be fired. Get rid of the professor! Get him out of here! That 80-year-old noxious man. And right away, the losers in administration took the side of the stupid students. Duke University president for public affairs and government affairs, Michael Schoenfeld, said, Duke has a deeply held commitment to inclusiveness, grounded in respect for all, and we encourage our... come on. Yeah, respect for all, my eye. In response to this, Professor Hoff, was in his 80s, didn't back off. He blasted political correctness and argued that society owes it to the black community to speak in frank terms. Here's what he said, quote, I am strongly against the obsession with sensitivity. The more we have emphasized sensitivity in recent years, the worse race relations have become. I think that is not an accident. Quote, I know that the 60 years since the Montgomery bus boycott is a long time, and things must be changed. The Japanese and other Asians did not obsess with the concentration camps and the fact they were linked with blacks as colored. They pushed ahead and achieved. Coach K did not obsess with all the Polish jokes about Polish stupidity. He pushed ahead and achieved. And by his achievement and visibility, has played a huge role in destroying stereotypes about Poles. Many blacks have done that too, but no one says they have done as well on the average as the Asians, close quote. Then he goes on. In my opinion, the time has come to stop talking incessantly about race relations in general terms, as the president and activists have advocated, but talk about how the Asians and Poles got ahead and to copy their approach. I don't see why that is insensitive or racist, he said. The university, of course, attacked him. And he kept going on because he's been around long enough to put up with the Lilliputians. He knows what the Lilliputians are, and he's not afraid of them. Lilliputian, write it down. Send it to Media Matters, controlled by George Soros and Hillary Clinton. You're reading a lot about Media Matters, aren't you, and Hillary Clinton, right? Well, I was a subject of Media Matters false attacks for years now. They've cost me a fortune in advertisers who were afraid of my show. It's all come out of the Hillary Clinton machine, funded by George Soros, funded by the Clinton crime family, funded by them. Media Matters is a hit piece, a hit machine of the Hillary Clinton crime family that is used strictly to silence their enemies. If you want to live in that kind of country, count me out. I never aspired to live in the Soviet Union. If you aspire to live in the Soviet Union, let me know about it. I'll send you a one-way ticket to the Ukraine. 855-400-7282. I can ask you a question. I'm going, through the articles now, showing you what's out there. And the Duke professor, you can call about the ISIS situation. Why have we not seen any pictures of the key ISIS figure that they allegedly killed? Why no pictures? Is it propaganda? And that's all, and life goes on. Meanwhile, Al Sharpton's daughter still goes on with a $5 million lawsuit for a sprained ankle, even though the New York Post got a picture of her on Instagram after climbing a mountain, saying she still suffers. She had debilitating pain from the twisted ankle. $5 million from New York City. I blame the lawyers for this. I don't blame Al Sharpton. I blame the vermin who run the legal profession. I blame the American Association of Trial Lawyers. The Trial Lawyers Association is the worst pox that has ever hit America. They are gangsters, pure and simple criminals. The tort machine is a criminal machine. The lawyers are to blame for the downfall of America. That includes the snake at the top.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage. Warning. The Savage Nation contains adult language, adult content, psychological nudity. Listener discretion is advised. And now, America's most exciting radio talk show, The Savage Nation, home of unprotected talk, borders, language, culture. And here he is, Michael Savage.
We're going there not in a handbasket. We're going there on an express train, and the conductor's a maniac out of control. Welcome to the Savage Nation. We have a crazy man as conductor of the train of state, driving it as fast as he can, blowing the whistle, going through the stop signs, and screaming, race, 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 race. That's the problem. Meanwhile, the Middle East is burning. The bowling pin is waiting in the wings. And now the bowling pin, in order to appeal to the progressive left, which, as you know, progressive is the opposite of what they are. They're regressives. They want to take us back to 1917 in Russia. So when you hear progressive, think regressive, think the Bolshevik Revolution, 1917. Don't fall for the rhetoric. Everything's backwards. Blue states should be red states should have been blue states, and progressive should be regressive. Here she says that she's now worried about the 26-year-olds who are aging out of Obamacare. They should be allowed to stay on the system older than 26. Listen to this.
You know, one of the problems, and I heard about this in Iowa, is what happens when a 26-year-old becomes a 27-year-old and is no longer eligible to be on his or her parents' policy. That was one of the best changes in the Affordable Care Act. And the fact is that a lot of young people aren't making the income they need yet to be able to afford their own health care. So we have to look out to see what we're going to be able to do to help them.
And what would that be, Mrs. Clinton? Perhaps taking the money that you and your husband have garnered into the Clinton Foundation and dispersing it to people under 35, let's say, so they can buy health care, or using it more for private jets and yacht travel and fancy mansions all over the world? What rubbish. It's the Bolshevik Revolution. Who's going to pay for it? Tell me who's going to pay for slackers who are staying at home, who don't have a job or don't want a job, never will have a job, and they want to stay on a state-run healthcare system. Who is going to pay for it? Again, they're targeting the middle class. Again, they're targeting the bourgeoisie. Once again, they're targeting the middle class. Once again, they're targeting what was known in the Soviet era as the bourgeoisie. Nothing has changed under the sun. You have a hardcore class of Bolsheviks disguised as progressives who want to bring about a revolution. They're a long way towards achieving it, by the way. Obama's taking them very, very far. If he is not stopped, he will achieve a full-scale revolution in this nation before 2016. That's my opinion. We're also talking about medical marijuana. And let me make my position clear again in case you missed it, because I know a lot about the subject of natural products and natural medicines. Those of you who know me know that in 1972 I published my first book in the health field called Earth Medicine, Earth Food. It was followed by some other great books. One won the National Science Teachers Association Award for children's science books, Man's Useful Plants. And towards late 70s, I wrote Nutrition Against Aging. That was a good selling book. I wrote Maximum Immunity in 1983, which was in 6 or 8 languages, published by Houghton Mifflin. I wrote Reducing the Risk of Alzheimer's, where I was the first one in the popular literature to talk about antioxidants slowing the aging of the brain, slowing the degeneration, really, of the amyloid plaques in 1981 or 82. It was a very, very important book that was hardly recognized at the time. And I worked in the field of ethnobotany for many years. And back in 78, I was thinking of emigrating out of America because I was a white male with a first-class PhD from the University of California. I was not hireable. I was also in a field that was too, let us say, remote from the stuck-in-the-mud science of its day. So I looked around the world after being rejected by 200 universities, and in Israel, there was an advanced department in this field of medicinal plants being run by a man, a wonderful man named Raphael Meshulam. He offered me a 2-year fellowship. I took my family there. I considered it, and I told you the long story. He told me that we could only give you a 2-year fellowship, after which you're going to be on your own, and there's very little money in Israel. And he said, I really don't think you should take it because men like you cause revolutions. I guess he saw that I looked like, I don't know, I looked like a revolutionary. I don't know what it was. I wasn't really a revolutionary. Nevertheless, I walked the streets of Tel Aviv that night, the cobblestone ancient streets of Tel Aviv alone, thinking about it. Should I move my family to the city, the ancient city of Jerusalem? And I heard my deceased father's voice speak to me that night. And he said to me from heaven, I was an immigrant to America. It was very hard to be an immigrant to America. Do you want to make your children immigrants to another country where they don't even know the language? Packed the bags and went home the next day. That was my Israel experience, the last one. Because with children, you think more clearly. You start to think for them, not for yourself. It was only me. I had no family. I would have taken it for 2 years and figured, what the heck? I'll see what happens in 2 years. You know what I'm saying? You say, all right, I'll take it 2 years. I really want to do the research. And ironically, listen to this. He wanted me to work on the West Bank with the Arab communities on ethnobotany. They probably would have had my throat cut and would have been disappeared within the first 3 months. I mean, it was pretty bad then as well. It wasn't as bad as it is today. But nevertheless, it was then. It was true. It was real. So I left. So then I learned that this very same brilliant scientist, Raphael Mechoulam, is the man who isolated the active ingredient, or the active principle, as we say, in marijuana, CBD, cannabidiol. I think it's cannabidiol, yes. I used to think it was THC. But he established the structure of CBD, which is an important component of marijuana. And CBD is widely used now in medicine, and very effectively. It's a very important one. And so I'm totally in favor of using isolated components of marijuana for medicinal use. But I totally oppose legalization. I don't want people going to jail for using weed. I'd like to see it decriminalized, but I would not vote for legalization for one reason. It sends the wrong message to the youth. It destroys young brains. It's very dangerous. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Do you understand you can have it both ways? You can be for the use of marijuana components in medicine and against its use in, let us say, recreational areas. Social or recreational use is a poison. It's why we have so many dumb people. Why do you think it was called dope for so many years? Because it makes you stupid. It doesn't make you smarter. It makes you stupider. Have you found anyone who gets smarter on the marijuana? I offer you a challenge. I want you to sit down, if you can still write cursively, write 100 words in cursive. Just write 100 words from your own mind in cursive letters. Now smoke a joint and try to write 100 words in cursive letters. See what happens to your handwriting. You'll find out that it doesn't work very well for left brain rational thinking. It may make you feel good if you have the mind of a one-string banjo. But if you were gifted with a mind that's very complex with many strings, like a fine violin, all it does is wreck the violin. So I would say that for those with one-string minds, go ahead, enjoy yourself. But it's very dangerous for the children. That's topic number 53,000 on the Savage Nation. 855-407-2882. Andrew on WABC wants to chime in today on what topic? I don't know. Andrew, welcome to the program. What topic?
I want to chime in on Asian people, affirmative action, and that topic. I wanted to point out Asian people did not just achieve. Jewish people also, they surpassed the white majority that was not discriminated against. So they didn't just do well. And the liberals will say, well, they weren't discriminated against like black people were, but they should only do better than the African-American community. Not only did they did better than all communities.
Well, the Asians were discriminated against. They were called the Yellow Peril during the early days of the 1900s. There was an attempt to block the immigration of Asians. They were looked upon with contempt. There were rules against the Chinese in particular in this country. The admissions committees of many universities were totally opposed to Jews and Asians, by the way. Did you know that Harvard had a low quota for Jews and Asians as late as the 1950s? Did you know that?
I did. In New York City, they discriminated against Jewish students, and I think the irony is that it actually emboldens the Jewish and the Asian families and helps them and hurts the black and Latino people.
Well, I know the Jews didn't burn their city down out of protest.
They worked harder.
I know that the Asians didn't go and rob a 7-Eleven in the name of prejudice. I know that.
They did.
And I know that no president on earth would call thugs and thieves and criminals justified in their behavior unless they themselves have the same mentality or want to see the next city burn, baby, burn. That's the whole point, is that when you have a man setting the nation on fire city by city, and I see this with my own eyes, justifying it every day, it's shocking to watch this. But I don't expect anything from the George Stephanopoulos of the universe, do you?
The one thing Obama will never say is what causes the out-of-wedlock birth rate and why there's so many fathers not in the homes in the inner cities that he goes to. It's his policies that cause it. Asians, my wife came here from Thailand. Within 4 years, she was the best student in her school. She had to translate everything from